Uh, there is no new assignment today, but what I'm just going to do is while we are waiting for other students to join, so we don't have that many people today. So meanwhile, I'll just create a quick animation. You just have to watch. You don't have to do this exercise, just to give you an idea that, if we are go going to create something a little more meaningful than what we were doing last time. For example, if we want to do a ad for a product, or if we want to create uh, like a title screen for a video, or maybe like a title for a television channel or something. So I was thinking of, let me just share my screen and then we'll go from there. Okay, I'm in Photoshop. I'm just going to create a new document over here. I will just create something from scratch. So file, new, going to make it about, let's make it 1000 pixels by 600. 72 resolution, RGB colors, 8-bit. That should be okay. Just say okay to this. Okay, so here's a document, and I want to create an animation over here of, I'll just make up a TV channel. So I was thinking of, we were working with colors, so let's call it a TV channel called RGB. Okay, so let's just do this. Okay, and I'll use a little better font over here. So what I'm doing is highlighting the name of the font and just using my up or down arrow keys to just scroll through. So right now I don't know what font I'll be using. So maybe something bold like this. Or I can just simply open up my uh, fonts over here, and right now if you don't see, if I don't see many fonts because I'm already filtering my fonts from handwritten fonts. So I'll just say please show me, let's see some slab serif fonts. Okay, I'll just use that for right now. Okay. So this is going to be just like NBC or CBS. So this is our RGB. So just to make it a little more interesting, I'm going to highlight, type, press the T key to get to the type tool, highlight the letter R, and I'm looking for my colors, and I don't see my window open, so I can go to the window menu and choose swatches from here. These swatches are open somewhere. Oh, they're on my other screen. Just pull them up. Okay. So I'll just use a basic red, green, and blue colors over here. So I'll just select R for this guy and fill with the background color over here. So R and G is going to be, I think this green should be fine. And probably this blue. Okay, and another thing I want to do is I want to have a black background. So in my layers panel, see where my layers are. Let me just pull these out over here. Go to the background, and since the background is white, I can simply invert my background. Rather than filling it with black, I can do Command I to invert. Okay, so these are nice saturated red, green, and blue colors, so they're looking good. In my layers panel, I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to create a strip of colors over here. So the first one, since I already have blue selected over here, so Command Delete to fill this with blue, and move the selection marquee down here and fill this with this red. Okay, so it's going to be red, green, and blue. So I think I should move this down a little bit. Can put green in between. Okay, and just sample that green. You can sample greens with this eyedropper tool. Okay, so this is going to be a RGB strip which I want to animate, and it's going to be coming. So if this is a TV channel, okay, so we have the name of the or the initials of the channel. The strip is coming, and I also want to, let me just zoom out a little bit and turn off the background color for a bit so that I can see the whole screen where things are. And Command T, press the Shift and Option key together to, I'm just going to stretch the strip a little bit. Okay, maybe make it a little smaller. Okay, so as I was doing that, and I'm manipulating these pixels over here, and if you notice that the edges are not coming out right, so I can just simply make a selection and just delete part of that. So when I'm zoomed in and I am, let's see what's going on over here. So when I'm zoomed in, if I have to scroll, so I can just simply press the space bar. It gives me access to the hand tool, and I can scroll. Okay, so so we have like two different things going on. So one is the text layer, other is just these strips over here. I also want to create a sort of a fusion of colors, and in order to do that, I will be creating some gradient circles. So if I create a new layer over here, and I'll turn the background layer on, and green is selected, and I'm going to click on the gradient, and from the options over here, I'm going to choose a radial gradient. And the gradient is going to go between green and let's make this end see if I can change this over here. Okay, let me see what's going on over here. Yeah, I think I'm just trying to figure out, guys. So I think there is something new going on over here, but we'll work through this. I'll have to check what's new, and here we go. Okay, so I want the gradient to go from green to transparent. Okay, so I think there's a new way of working over here. I still need to figure out how to change the gradients. Uh, so anyway, so these changes keep coming. So we have to keep up with everything. But anyway, so here's a new gradient. And I've chosen to do a radial gradient. And I'll create a gradient maybe over here, something like this. Okay. Still picking up the background color. Okay. Okay, guys, so again, there's something new going on, so we'll figure this out. So let's go and choose. They even took out the gradient panel over here. I just updated my software the other day, so I think this is Adobe. Usually they don't tell you what is going on. No. Gradient type. Okay, now it is fine. Okay, so this is just a new way of working. So let me delete this layer, create a new layer. Let me see where the gradients are going to go. So I'm going to create a green gradient like this. So if I turn on the background, so you can see it's going from 100% green to transparent. Now I don't have to be that big because if you notice that it is going a little too close to the edges. So let's try it again. I'm going to delete this and make sure that I don't stretch it that much. Okay, so this looks okay. Let me see the size. Maybe a little small. Okay, yeah, this looks fine. All right, so I also need red and blue circles, or these cloud-like objects over here. So either I create a new layer and go and choose the color which I want to use, and then you can create another gradient like that. Okay. Or because if you are creating gradients, uh, you are doing it manually, so you don't know how much you are stretching, something like this. Okay. So in order to be consistent with the first gradient which we created, I'm going to do Command Z. What I'll do is I'll copy this green layer. Okay. And change its hue. So remember the keyboard shortcut Command U for hue saturation. And then from here, you can move your slider and you can go and choose the blue you want. So right now, I don't have any numbers to follow. All I need is that this blue should be fully saturated. Okay, so this looks fine. And then I can make another copy, Command J, and then Command U for hue saturation. Increase the saturation, and then I need to make it red. Go probably this side, somewhere over here. Okay, so we've got 3 layers going. Okay, so here is my red, here's my blue, and here is the green. Okay, so in my animation, I want these colors to be coming from 3 different sides, maybe from upper right, left and upper right, and from the bottom. Okay, and they are going to come and join together in this area. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to create. So I'm not sure about the size yet, so let's see, let's figure that out. Okay, so I can select all these 3 layers together. Shift select, Command T for free transform, and make it smaller. And maybe I'll just rotate it like this. Okay, and probably RGB might be a little too big. Command T and scale it down. Well, I'm scaling. I'm also holding the shift key, option key, so that I'm scaling from the center, inwards or outwards like this. If I don't use the option key, then I can scale in one direction. But if I press the option key, I can scale from center in and out. All right, so this is looking good. RGB goes over here. This strip, I'm going to call this strip. This was my green color, so I'll just call it G for green, B for blue, and R for red. Okay, so it's a good idea to label your layers. All right, so the strip layer, I want this strip to be coming in from the left side. So I've just dragged this out. So the layer is still there, and it's going to come in, something like this. Okay, and this RGB, okay, so how it is together over here, it's going to split. Or rather, I need to do something opposite to that. And as far as the text is concerned, I'm going to start with 0% opacity. Okay. So right now I'm just setting up what my animation is going to be. All right, so far so good. So let's see if we can start animating now. So in order to animate, I need a timeline panel. If you don't see it down here, you can always access that from the window menu and choose timeline. Okay. So now you have the timeline panel. I want to create a video animation. So I'm going to click over here. Okay, so by default, it's going to be about 5 seconds. I'm going to keep it 5 seconds, that's fine. And if I zoom out a little bit. So starting with, let's start with the strip over here. So this is your strip layer represented in the timeline. I'm going to open this up by clicking on this little arrow. Okay. So what I want to do here is I want to make a change in position. So I'm going to click on this little icon over here, which looks like a little stopwatch. So it adds a keyframe. So this is a yellow diamond in the timeline represents a keyframe. And in this keyframe, my strip is sitting somewhere outside from my document window. And somewhere like in 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds, let's make it about 1.5 seconds over here. I'm going to create another keyframe and using the move tool, I'm going to bring this guy in. Okay. So what is going on is if I rewind and play, so the strip comes in and the timing was what? 1.5 seconds. All right. So this is one part of the animation. Next, what we want is work with colors. Okay. So if you notice the colors over here, I put them in one location. This is where I want them to end up in. So that is fine. So I'll go to the red layer, the R layer, open this up. I'm going to do a position change for this. So I'm going to create a I'll have to make sure that my playback head is where I want to start. Create a keyframe, position keyframe, and somewhere close to like 3 seconds. This is where I want to change the position. So taking the move tool and move this guy out of the document area over here. Maybe I'll just do it this way. I don't want it to overlap the strip. So this is what is happening. So this is how it's going to come in. Okay. But right now it's opposite than what we want. So let's just tackle the other colors first and then we could make those changes. Okay, so I can minimize R and then work with blue over here. Playback head in the start of your timeline. Position. And remember we did what? 2 seconds or what was that? 3 seconds. So in the same time frame, so I will be moving this guy in. So let's just take it out for right now. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. Just like an atomic fusion. Okay. And let's just quickly do green. just hiding down there. Let me extend my timeline window a little bit. Okay, so once again, going back to the start, click over here to add a keyframe. Okay, and let's just do this. Okay. Now this is what we want, but the sequence should be opposite. So rather than uh, the fusion splitting like that, I want uh, these, I'll just call them atoms, to be coming in. Okay, so now we know that we have the keyframes. So all I have to do is to take this keyframe, move it here, this keyframe, move it all the way to the center, and I'll just put this at see now how the red is coming in now. So I will do the same over here. So take it to 3 seconds. Same thing with the green. Okay, so we are starting with a blank screen. And if I rewind and play the movie, so this is what is happening. Okay, so the question is that, um, I don't think that this is going very, it should be a little faster than this. Okay, it's a little too slow. So all I have to do is to take the keyframe and just move it. So let's say that, let's make it happen in 2 seconds. I will even make it faster. So how about 1 second? It will be like coming in. So all I have to do is make sure that these keyframes align. So if I rewind and play, okay, I think they should even be faster than that. So let's make one more change. Okay, this is better. All right, so now after the strip comes in, after they fuse, colors fuse, strip comes in, and I want RGB to appear. Okay, so I'll go and find the RGB layer, which is right here in the timeline panel. And in this case, I want to, what I want to change over here is somewhere around 2 seconds or so, a little bit before 2 seconds. I'm going to click on opacity. Remember, we were using position. In this case, if another thing you may notice is that these are bitmap graphics over here, the strip as well as the colors over here. But RGB is my text layer. With the text, we are looking at some different options over here. Opacity, style is fine. There's something called text wrap as well as transform. Transform is equivalent to position when it comes to live text. But I'm not making any position changes over here. I want to change the opacity. And so right here, the opacity of my RGB layer should be 100%. Okay. and from between, let's say about this point where the strip comes in, from this point onwards, I'm going to create another keyframe over here and make the opacity 0 again. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. Okay, now another thing you can do is when the screen, uh, you know, when the animation ends, so the branding is showing over here, and then later on, if you want to, uh, you know, split the atom again, you can. So you are going to do the same way. You create your keyframes and then just take that out. So I think let's do that. I'll just make the animation a little smaller, somewhere around 3 seconds. Okay, so position, once again, going to create a keyframe, and the keyframe for all the other layers will be same. Okay, and from here the splitting starts, and so I'll create yeah, ignore the phone bell, guys. Okay, so now we have the keyframes going. So all we need to do is zoom out a little bit, grab my move tool, make sure that at this time which layer is selected, the green layer is selected. So I'll just take this guy and take it out of the scene, and take this out of the scene. Let's make it go horizontally this way and horizontally this way. Okay, I think I might have to make it a little closer. Want it to happen quickly. Okay, so we'll rewind and play, and boom. Okay, so this is looking good. I just need to, I don't want this animation to be a little too long. So you see my playback head, okay? There is also these, I used to call them stops, or this is your start work area and this is the end work area. So I'm just going to bring this close over here, and then I can also decrease the timeline over here. Thank you, man. Okay. So let's see how our animation is working. Rewind and then play. RGB comes in, RGB stays, and the atom split. Okay, so this is looking good. Okay, visually it is looking good, but I'm thinking that maybe it will be more fun if we can also add some audio to it. I don't have any audio. Let's see if I have anything on my. I don't know what this is. Huh. Okay. It's a funny music over here. Stop. I don't know what is going on over here. Oh, open music. So let's just quit out of it. Okay, so this is the file I want to use. And in order to use this MP3 file, now previously Photoshop did not support MP3, but somebody told me that now it can. Before that, you had to convert the sounds into .mov files. But let's see if I can open this sound in Photoshop. So I'm going to take this audio file, which is sitting on my desktop, and drag it over here and drag it into Photoshop. Okay, aha, so it did open. So Photoshop did not support MP3s before, but now it does. So this is a Photoshop document with sound in it. Okay, I need to turn the sound on. Okay, I don't know, my computer is running really, really slow today. Let's see what else is open on my. Okay, let's try it again. Hmm. Okay, so this sound is not playing. So whoever told me, yes, you can open it now, but so what can we do with this sound? Uh, is there a way for me to convert it into a .mov movie? So let me try that. So I'll just right click on the sound file and I'm going to say open with, let's open with a QuickTime player. Okay, probably the sound file is not good. So this is a, okay. Okay, probably this is not going to work. I can preview sound. For some reason, I can't convert it. Um, just another introduction to you guys. There is another software which comes with Adobe Creative Suite called Adobe Media Converter. Okay, so you're looking at it in real time because I didn't plan this tutorial today. And so how can, maybe I can use Media Converter to convert this. It looks like there is a compression added on this wherever I got this file from. So QuickTime is not recognizing that. Photoshop is not recognizing. So on my Mac computers, if I press Command and Spacebar, it gives me this search field, and I'm going to look for media encoder, which is right here. Okay, so I'm going to open it. Okay, there it is. Okay, we are just waiting for the software to load. I haven't opened this software in a long time. So when you open a software first time, so it may take long if you have done any updates or anything. So usually it takes a little bit longer. Okay, it looks like we are almost there. There we go. All right. So this is the interface of Media Encoder, and we want to add a file. And I'm just keeping my fingers crossed and see if Media Encoder is going to recognize this file. Okay, it did. And it has converted this. Let me just play this. Hmm. Or maybe my sound was off. Okay, so if media converter does not recognize, then maybe there is another way of finding a utility online which may be able to recognize that compression. Another way will be that I know that preview works on this file, but if I open it in the software called Music, which used to be iTunes, okay, but they separated iTunes from Music now. So it does play in Music, but from Music, I won't be able to save it. So I might not be able to use this file. So let's see what else can I do. See if I have any .mov files. That's an old format. That is not a music file. Okay, all right, all right. Just bear with me, guys. We'll find something. Hmm. Huh. You can see all those tutorial files I have. Okay, one more area to look for, and you'll find it on my hard drive somewhere. Mm. All right. Okay, guys, why don't we do this? Let's take a break. I'll go and find a file which I can use. So is everyone okay with that? We only have like, how many students are here?
10.
Okay. All right, guys. So let's do this. So give me about 5 minutes, and it's also time to break my fast. I think I've gone past that, and so I'll see you in about five minutes or so. Okay.
All right, cool.
Hi guys, everyone there? I'm back.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So it looked like the file which I was trying to use earlier. It is this one. There is either it is corrupt when it was downloaded, or it has some sort of a compression which our software packages are not recognizing. Okay. So I found another folder. It has some sounds in it. It also have some special effects in it. Okay, so These are sound files called wave files. Wave files are usually uncompressed files. And then if you notice that we also have some MP3s. So I just tried opening MP3 file in Photoshop, so it is working fine. So I take my words back that whoever told me that MP3 is supported now, so yes, it is supported. So let's see, there are a couple of music files over here. So which one should I use? I think I like this better. So I'm going to open this in Photoshop. Okay, so it opens up in its own document. Uh, this is the file, not this one. This is the file we've been working on. Okay, this one. So I'll go back to my sound file and grab its layer, the video layer. Okay, so the sound opens up like a video, and I can just take this layer and take it to my document here. That's not it. That's not it. Where did my file go? Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to bring this over here so that I don't have issues selecting. I've got too many files open on my computer, so I was working on a project. Okay, so anyway, so I'll take this layer and drag it into our documents. So it says, are you sure you want to convert colors to, I'm not worrying about colors because this file does not have any colors. So just say okay to this. All right. So this file comes in as a layer, and this blue is your sound file. Okay, so if we zoom in and rewind, let's just dock it back over here. So rewind and okay. So okay, so if you notice what is happening is the sound is longer than what we need. So how can we deal with that? So we'll make sure that we go to our timeline, and right below the timeline, there's a slider in which I can zoom in or zoom out of my timeline view. Sometimes, you know, your videos or animations can be quite long. So I'm going to zoom out, and I can make this music smaller, okay, just to fit my timeline. Okay, and just play. Okay, so you got the idea though. So once again, it was not planned. So now the only thing before I stop this tutorial, I'm noticing that, again, you guys, I'm learning it with you guys at this time. One thing I noticed is that there is also audio track over here. So it looks like Photoshop supports audio by itself too. So let's see if it does. Aha. So it says add audio. So if I add audio and I can go on the desktop, there should be a file, music. Maybe we'll add a sound effect this time. Some sort of a crash. I like that. Sort of a electric, like Terminator has landed or something. Okay, open. Okay, so yeah, so this is an audio file over here. And once again, file looks like it's a little longer, so we can zoom out, and I can just shrink the length of the file. Let's see if this works for me. Rewind and play. Okay. So this is good. So, there are some minor adjustments to be done. For example, this the bar goes all the way over here. I want it to stop somewhere in the center. We'll just do that fix and then we'll save everything. All right, so how can I do this? Now there is a little bit of an issue, and that is my interface is dark, which is black. Uh, the background of my file is also black. Okay, so it's really hard for me to see where to stop. Okay, so one thing I can do is if I just create a new layer, and I'm going to fill this layer with white, and I'm going to reduce its opacity. So this is just a temporary layer over here. So this will show me where the edges of my document are. Okay, so I need to go and find my strip layer, which is right here, and you see this was my so this was my keyframe, which was the ending keyframe. So over here, what I'm just going to do is to pull back the strip a little bit. Somewhere over here. Okay, now it looks fine. Okay, this white layer I'm going to delete. I don't need that anymore. And there we go. So save my work. So saving this Photoshop file is important because this is your work file now. If I have to come and make any more changes, so I will be making changes to that. So I'll just save it to the desktop, call this RGB. With all the layers and everything. This is a Photoshop document. Next, I need to save this video. So go to File, Export, just like we did last time, Render Video. Where do I want to save it? I'll be saving it to my desktop, rgb.mp4. That's how it's going to be saved. And this is important. There are different compressions. You can use DPX and QuickTime and H.264. H.264 is sort of a standard these days, so you can never go wrong with that. Uh, High quality is fine. This is where I can change the document size if I want to. Let's say if this was an ad and it was supposed to be played in some uh, web web banner, and they have given you a pixel dimension that this should be this big. So you can put that number in there at that time. 30 frames per second is fine. Uh, One thing, I'll make sure that I'm saving all my frames. Okay, and then just render. Okay, and it's going to appear right here. So this is my video file now. If I open this up, oops, did I delete the strip layer? What happened to the strip? Oh yeah, I deleted that keyframe over here. So we'll fix that. Okay, and let's add a keyframe over here, and let's see if this guy is still here. Okay, I'm just eyeballing it for right now. Okay, save and then render again. File, export. Again, if I'm just trying to do it in a hurry at this point, uh, but if it was a long video, you don't want to do this because it takes a long time to render. Okay, so let's do the final playback. Okay, okay. So few other things we can do is, we can fade out the sound like that. So that can be helpful. All right, guys. So I'm just going to stop sharing right now, and I just need to talk to you guys. Okay. So everyone, this was just a quick real-time demo. I don't have any assignment or lecture like that today. It was just we did some animations last time, so I thought that maybe we can just quickly put something together which may make sense. So hopefully this was helpful. um, I'm not going to uh, lecture for long today, but I'm here to answer any questions. Just let me know, and I can, if we have to create something, if we, anything that is coming in your mind, so please let me know. Or if you were working on your projects and you didn't understand anything, so this will be a good time to ask. Usually Ashley have questions for me.
Actually, I have a
Sure,
question.
Monica.
I emailed you, I think, a few days ago, for the what is it called? Oh, I forgot the project name. Um,
That's okay.
the mask project where we have to do images, like 4 images, and then create a window and have an image inside the window.
Sure.
I forgot how to do the mask.
Okay, that's a good question. So let's do that. Okay, so let me find a couple of files we can work with. Hmm. See, I'm not very organized today, so let's, okay, here we go. I'll just borrow some files from here. Okay, so we'll select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different files. Open them in Photoshop. Okay, so I have these files open over here. Let's just create a new document. File, new. Yeah, let's just make it about.
I think you stopped screen sharing.
Oh, I'm not sharing screens yet?
Yeah.
Okay. And down here. Okay. So let's create a new document, and it's going to be for the web. And so it doesn't matter, at this point. So let's just make it 1440 by 900. Should be fine. For this one, I don't need any artboard, so I forgot to turn that off. So I can right click on the artboard and say ungroup from the artboards. You just start with a white background. Just bring this over here. Okay, so this is a document in which I'm going to assemble my work. Let's hide others so that we don't see a lot of other stuff in the background. All right. So this image, just drag it and use it as a background. Okay, so this remains where it is. Okay. And then I'm going to go and select another image. And let's go and select one more image. It's going to be over this one. And there's another image. So I'm putting all these different images into one file. Okay, so let's look at the layers now. Okay, so background layer. Uh, let's make the background solid color so that we can see the difference. Okay, and then on top of that, this is what we have. Now I'm going to divide this page or document into 4 equal parts. So for that, I need the rulers on. If you don't see the rulers, so Command R turns them on or off. Bring this guy over here. And if you notice that this guide, which I'm pulling from the ruler, when I come to the center, it sort of snaps right here. So and it's going to snap. So horizontal ruler, vertical ruler. Now, starting with this image, I want this image to show up in the left top quadrant. So for that, I'll select this layer, make a selection, and create a mask. So this is a layer mask. So in my layers panel, right down here, 1, 2, and third icon from the left. So it creates a mask. Now, if I option click on the mask, you can see this is how the mask looks like. White areas are going to reveal the image on this layer. Black are going to protect. Now, by default, this will be linked. So if I want to uh, reposition this image or scale it, the mask will be scaled with it. But I don't want to do that. I'm going to unlink this, make sure that I'm not on the mask side, but on the pixel side, Command T, and now I can scale the image to fit this area. Okay, so same way I'm going to create masks for other layers, like this guy over here. It's going to be in the upper right area. Okay, let's select this, create a mask. You can unlink them, and if now going to the pixel side, if you want to make any adjustments, you can. So the masks will remain where they are because we unlinked them. And if we want to move them around or scale them, Command T, we can do that. Okay, so these are 4 images. Now this process is called what? Creating layer masks. Now, in the same exercise, we also saw how to do clipping groups. Okay, so let's do a clipping group over here. I'm going to create a new layer, and I want the images to be clipped into, I can either use a vector shape in there, or I can just simply create a selection and fill this with any color I want. So I'll just fill with black. It doesn't matter, it's black, blue, green, as long as there are pixels on this layer, it should work. All right, and let's see if I have any image. I was just looking at these images. My boys 15 years ago. Okay, so I have this image. Okay. So I want this image to be clipped into the circle. So for that, I'm going to press the Option key down and bring my cursor between these 2 layers, the circle and the image itself. So when I click, okay, and now the top layer has been clipped into the layer below, okay, and layer below becomes as the sort of the base layer of my group. And I can go to this layer, and if I want to make any adjustments, or I can, if I have to scale, I can scale, so on. Maybe I want to add another image in here, so let's just move this image here. And then I can add another image and I can clip that in there too. So, but the good thing about clipping groups is that it's not that clipping group is going to clip your image. But if you want to add any special effects to this circle, you can go back to your base layer. You can add, for example, I can add drop shadow, or I can bevel if I want to. Where did the bevel go? Okay, I can change the depth, I can change the size of the bevel. I can soften the edges, can make it really hard. Okay. So if, remember that rocket image I have, okay, so maybe I want to use that over here too. Okay, so this is a GIF file, just drag that in here. And I only want the rocket to be shown over here. So let's pull this out, maybe in this lower right hand corner, and press the Option key to first of all clip that. And I only want to see the rocket in this quadrant. I'll make a selection of this area. And on top of the clipping group, I can also add a mask over here, just like that. And then I can go and make any adjustments to the image. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. I missed like two of those parts, but yeah,
Okay,
before.
so yeah, that's
Now I
okay.
get
We did that all over again. So what we are doing over here is masking at the layer level. Okay, so these are layer masks, and this one is also a layer mask. And then you can have any object. It can be a vector object. It can be uh, a circle, square, or any shape on a separate layer, which can act as a mask or you know, the terminology we use over here is clipping. And this becomes like a clipping group now, okay? And the base layer is that shape which we are using to clip all the shapes above it. And these arrows pointing down are sort of a feedback for the user that, hey, you know, this layer is clipped into this layer. If I want to take out the rocket layer from the clipping, I will do the same Option and then click between the layers to take it out. Okay, or Option, click once again to add it to the group. So if I have 4 images, see what else I have. Okay, and once again, making a selection, you can add a mask and Option click between the layers to add them to the group. And then you have the option of scaling. Now, if I scale at this time, I have the mask also linked. This is not what I want. So I'm going to unlink from the mask, and then I can scale the image inside. Okay, so you got the idea. All right. Any other questions, guys? No questions? Okay, so if you guys have no other questions, so I'm going to stop here. There is no assignment today. You already have your assignments. You should be working on those. Uh, uh, you know a little more about animation. We also got into some problems, and you saw that, in real time how you should be solving the problems. Not everything is a tutorial. And so as you will start working with the software packages, you will see that it is always a process of solving a problem. Okay. So I think that should be it for today. Once again, I wish you guys a very safe weekend, and hopefully, uh, you know, you guys are learning something very good. All right, guys, going to stop share. So thank you very much, and I will see you guys next Tuesday.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, guys.